My lower body has always been my insecure area. When I gain weight, it doesn't go to my tummy, it doesn't go to my upper body, it goes straight to the thighs, in the hips, in the booty. In my 20s, when I was about 10 pounds heavier than I am now, that's where I saw it and felt it the most. My jeans were tighter. I was 2 sizes bigger actually in my pant size. I didn't look overweight, but I also just didn't look tight. I didn't have any definition in my legs. They were definitely a lot softer and a lot less muscular and toned than they are now. And I looked as what so many girls, including myself, describe now as skinny fat. I was totally in my skinny fat era. Smaller frame, but not sculpted. The most frustrating part is that I wasn't sedentary. It's not like I was sitting around doing nothing. I was actually doing the opposite. I was doing the most. I was running. I was eating low carb, low calorie. And I was also going on 5-mile runs 3 to 4 times a week, but my body wasn't shaping up, especially my lower body, in the way that I wanted it to. That is because I was so focused on weight loss versus being focused on body composition. And when I made that switch, that is when everything changed and the weight literally shut it off, and I finally got those more toned and lean legs. So today I'm going to tell you exactly how I went from skinny fat legs to lean and sculpted and give you a little step-by-step guide. So let's get into it. For years, my strategy was more workouts and less food. I thought, of course, it only makes sense. If I do this, if I work out as much as I can and I eat low calorie, low carb, I'm going to lose weight, and of course, my legs are going to lean out. But what ends up happening is that you actually just get smaller, but you still don't have that definition. In order to build that lean look, you need to have muscle underneath there. Underneath the skin, you need to have muscle. If not, yes, of course, you're going to be a smaller version of you, but you're going to still be the same shape. And that's where so many women get it wrong. We focus on getting smaller instead of getting stronger. We need to make that mindset shift. When I actually started focusing on less workouts, less running, less activity overall, because at the end of the day, I was really burning myself out. I was overtraining and my body was puffy and inflamed. When I dialed it back, when I started working out a normal amount, 4 to 5, maybe 6 days a week, depending on what it is, maybe the 6th day is a yoga mobility, and stopped with the 2 a day, stopped with the workout and then the 5-mile run, that is when I actually started to see the results. Muscle is what is actually creating curves in all of the right places. So when you have more muscle in your lower body, your glutes are going to be more lifted. Your hamstring is going to be more defined. You cannot tone what you haven't built. It doesn't really work like that. So over time, it definitely wasn't an overnight thing. My goal shifted from burn as many calories as possible to let's build muscle strategically and in a more enjoyable and sustainable way. That shift alone changed my entire lower body over time. I used to think that lean legs meant running multiple times per week. Like I mentioned, I would run 3, 4, sometimes even 5 days a week, as much as I could, really 5 to 8 miles. So going on like 30 to 1 hour runs, and I wasn't running because I loved it. I was running because I thought that running would make it's lower body dominant. I thought that that would make my legs skinny. But for me, long runs and under fueling my body just made me, of course, more hungry because it's high intensity. I'm burning more calories. I need more fuel. And it also just made me inflamed. When cortisol stays elevated, especially in high achieving, already stressed out women have so many responsibilities. We need to take care of the household. If we have kids, we need to take care of the kids. We also have jobs. There's so much going on, and I get that life is really stressful, but when you're adding high intensity movement to an already stressed out nervous system, your body does not respond well to that. For me personally, that showed up as puffiness, again, and inflammation, softness in my lower body. That being said, once I made that switch from running a few times a week to really just focusing on low impact steps, getting in my daily steps, that is when everything began to change. I did not realize, and I wish someone told me sooner, that when we are walking, when we are doing low intensity movement, our body is using fat as fuel versus glucose. When we are in that high intensity zone, our body is recruiting energy from glucose. So after maybe about 4 to 6 months of being really consistent with my daily steps, that also made a difference in my lower body. I saw some of that weight start to come off, and also I was toning up, and also on top of that, the little extra bonus, it was movement that I was actually enjoying. I literally live for going for my walks. After I'm done filming this, I'm going to go outside for my afternoon walk, and that makes me really excited. It's my moment in my day where I get fresh air, I get some sunlight, I get to just breathe and relax, not focus on anything else, not be on my phone. It really is a mindful moment that I cherish in my day every single day, on top of all of the other benefits that we are getting from it. Walking also allowed me to stay in a small calorie deficit when I was trying to, lose the weight without feeling depleted. But walking is also a great form of recovery with strength training. It doesn't interfere with it. So it's not that running is bad. If you love running, keep doing you, keep doing any movement that you enjoy, but know that if you maybe don't love running like me, I really don't like it, you don't have to do it in order to achieve a slim, toned, and sculpted body, especially lower body. When I was trying to lean out in my 20s, I would cut carbs. My only goal was to eat low calorie every single day. Protein didn't exist. For me, protein only came into this planet a few years ago because I was not even looking at that. I was so distracted by calories and carbs. And what I truly did not realize is that when you are doing a lot of cardio, a lot of high intensity movement, and you are under eating protein, that's going to equal muscle loss. And if you lose muscle, you are not going to improve your shape. So that is exactly why I was the same way for so long. Once I started prioritizing 100 to 120 grams of protein every single day, two things changed. First, I started having more energy every single day, which allowed me to push a little bit harder in my workouts in the gym. I was able to increase the intensity, increase the weights, along with, of course, taking proper recovery days, which is something I absolutely also was neglecting before. But secondly, my appetite also stabilized. I was no longer ravenous for snacks throughout the day. I wasn't thinking about my next meal. I was actually satiated and full after I would have breakfast, lunch, and dinner, which ended up eliminating a lot of calories for me because I wasn't snacking so much throughout the days. Protein, protein, protein. It is so essential to all of our diets. Yes, it is very trendy right now, but the hype is real. Protein is what's going to stimulate muscle growth, but also repair of our muscles when we are working out and super active. Muscle is what gives you that tight and athletic look. Honestly, now that I'm in my almost mid-30s and I will eventually be approaching my 40s, 50s, strength training and protein will be the top two things on my priority list on a daily basis because we want to preserve as much muscle as we can. Also, bone density is important. And the only way to grow and build in a sustainable way is making sure that we are eating a high protein diet. When you do that, literally your entire body will begin to change. Lastly, this is more of a technical shift, but it has made a visible difference throughout the years. I never did Pilates. I never did low impact movement. Again, I thought the harder I worked, the better. Strength training, conditioning, running, all of the things. And I was completely neglecting low impact Pilates movement. So when I was doing my strength training, and again, I was not doing it properly and I was overtraining and I was lifting too much weight for my body. My body just doesn't respond to super heavy lifting. But the issue is that I was not properly activating my glutes. A lot of us have really lazy glutes and it's natural. A lot of us have anterior tilts, our core isn't properly engaged, so when we're out of alignment, our glutes are not engaged. When I started focusing on Pilates, so my Tone and Flow series on my app Shape, this is something that I created after 2020, after the pandemic, when I was forced to work out at home. I started using ankle weights. I started using a booty band more. We incorporate the Pilates ball now. So when I started using all these little props, which by the way, I used to make fun of girls wearing ankle weights at the gym. I would see them doing kickbacks and be like, that's not doing anything. And now joke's on me because that's my favorite exercise. But once you properly activate the glutes in the lower body, even prior, if you are going to do strength training, activating and turning them on first is so important, because if you don't do that, number one, you could end up being more quad dominant versus feeling it in the posterior side, so in the back. But number two, you're like, yeah, you are still doing, strength training or compound movements and strengthening those muscles in the lower body, but you're completely missing the glutes. Once I started focusing on proper glute activation, not only in my strength workouts, and I do a lot of that again in my workouts on my app, but also just now starting to incorporate the Pilates in my weekly schedule, which again really focuses on those like tiny little muscles and activating and turning everything on. It created lines in my legs that I never thought could literally ever exist. My thigh just used to be like one big thing with no definition, and I hate to say it, but yes, I did have a lot more cellulite and just unevenness in my skin versus now. And when I really started focusing on turning on the lower body properly, especially the glutes, that is when I saw the lift. That is where I saw that tightness. And it comes through proper movement patterning and engagement. Working on your hip hinge, working on glute bridges, abductions, turning everything on. Our outside of our glute is actually the weakest muscle group in our body because we're not turning it on ever in our day-to-day. So the only way to really target it is through targeted movements. And it can make the biggest difference in how your lower body looks. Pilates is amazing because it really does help strengthen your deep core, but it also helps with pelvic alignment. Again, when your hips, shoulders, and your pelvis are all in alignment, you're actually to properly engage your glutes. And I was able to connect to my booty in a way that I hadn't before. I know it sounds funny, but it is really true. When you make that connection, when you are truly able to fire up everything in the lower body, it makes the biggest difference versus just mindlessly going through squats and deadlifts and all the things and not mind muscle connecting. I always say that strength training, yes, that creates the actual muscle, but the Pilates component is there to go in to lengthen, to refine, to tone up, and to tighten so that everything looks more sculpted and lifted in the lower body, but also literally from head to toe. So make sure in your weekly workout routine, you are getting a really great combination of both. I always love to give my YouTube audience a special little promo code to get the first month on my app for free, and you also get a free trial. So you get like 30 days plus whatever trial we have running at the time, which is either 7 days, 30 days, sometimes 14 days. Just a little way for me to say thank you for all of your support and for being here. So in the end, looking back, my legs did not need to be smaller, and if this video has resonated with you and you feel like you are in the position that I used to be in, just know, make that shift. It's not about getting them smaller, it's actually about how can we build, how can we get that muscle, that tone, that sculpted look. Well, it comes through better activation, more protein in your diet, decreasing the intensity of your cardio, so maybe really narrowing in and focusing on your 10,000 steps every single day, and also making sure we're getting really good glute activation and incorporating Pilates in our weekly workout structure. It's all of these little changes that you can start making now, that you can start making today, that are pretty, I would say, like easy flips and sustainable, so that in a few months from now, you will feel stronger, number one, always most important. You will feel more confident in your body, and you will be able to see the change that I wish I was able to realize literally years sooner. So if this video was helpful for you, please let me know below. Let me also know any other tips or tricks that you may have. I wish I could tell you that like just do 100 squats every single day and your legs will lean out, but unfortunately it doesn't really work like that. I hope you took something away from our chat today. Thank you as always for being here, and I will see all of you next time. Make sure to check out my latest video here.